Going to have a look at a never-ending card. This card is quite a unique little card and it's good fun. You can give it to somebody along with their gift, but they'll have lots of fun opening it. And just to show you, it opens like this, and then it flips, and then it flips, and it goes back to the beginning again. So this morning I'm going to show you how to construct one of these little cards. We need, for this particular card, I'm using cardstock. We need two that are 14 centimetre square. So I will just cut those for you just to show. And you can make this card out of any size so long as it is square, because you'll need to cut them in half. So we need two at 14 centimetres. Oops. So we have two cardstocks at 14 centimetres, and we want to cut those two cards into 7 by 14. So we want them both in half. So we'll end up with 4 pieces. Just like that. And what we're going to do with those 4 pieces is we're going to score 3.5 centimetres from either end to give it a fold. So I've already started here with 2 of them, and I'll just fold the other 2. So we want 3.5 at that end. And you must remember with this card that the folds are the important part, and when you go to decorate it, don't cover over the folds, because if you do, your card won't work. Right, so we've got all our scores, and we just want to fold them all over so they make like little miniature gatefold cards. And we want to fold all 4 of those. Just like that. We can use a bone scorer to crease them a bit better, that's okay. Then we're going to unfold them. And what we're going to do is we're going to lie 2 cards butted up against each other in the a landscape orientation, and then the other 2 cards we're going to lie on top in portrait orientation, also butted up against each other. So just make sure that they're lined up with their score marks. And when you line them up, to glue them together, I recommend using a glue like Tombow Multi, really good glue this one is, or any PVA glue, because you need something that will stay together. So when you've got them buttered up together, if you fold back the top one, you will see there's a little square in the corner that's there's a fold mark that goes around the outside, and we just want to put glue in that top square and fold it down so that it lines up perfectly. Give it a bit of a rub, and with the bottom corner we want to do the same, all 4 corners, so you're only gluing all 4 corners. And then you do the same with the other side. Again, just the corner. You can use double-sided tape for this. I prefer to use glue because I think it's a stronger bond. Okay, so that's like, we've got 2 cards sitting like that. And with our bone scorer, then we want to fold it back to make sure we've got it all correct. So you just fold it carefully back to the other crease mark we've already made, and just fold it back and just go over it with your bone scorer just to get our creases nice. And then we flip it again to get our creases nice, and again on that corner side. And then we're back. This is the back, and when you flip it again, you're back to the front again. So when you go to flip it, it flips, and then flips, flips, and it's back to the beginning. Don't worry too much if the little bits catch just a little bit, they will still turn. It's better to have them a little tiny gap than overlapped too. If you overlap it, it won't turn very well at all. And now for decorating. The decorating is the slowest part of this card. Once you've constructed it, you're done. But the decorating is the slowest part, and I've decorated my card here with both papers and with stamps. And these papers are from the Birdsong collection from Graphic 45, and so are the stamps. So you need to sort of have a look at what papers go together and where you want to put the papers to show how they decorate. So I've already pre-cut some papers here just to show you how to go about decorating, and they're ready to go because the papers are a little bit slow to decorate. So take off all your backing. You can work out which way up you want your design. This particular paper that I've used today on this little border here has lots of borders on the one sheet of paper. The only thing you need to have a look at is to make sure the border fits onto the panels. Making sure they're up the right way and they also meet in the middle. These panels are 6.5 centimetres long by 3 centimetres wide. So on the first flip, this centre part I'm going to use as, I'm going to have a stamp on there. And to decorate these side parts, you'll notice that you've got 4 little squares and 2 long ones, but when you flip it again, you end up with 2 squares here, which is going to be, instead of 2 long ones, it's going to be a square, and that's how I'm going to decorate. So I'm going to do this, I'm going to miss that little bit just at the moment, and I'm going to decorate this square instead. And on this one, I'm using 2 squares that are 6.5 by 6.5 on all 4 sides. So I'll just pop that down. You can do 2 narrow ones, on a narrow one on either side, so that you would see it differently. And I can show you in another sample just what that looks like. So I'll pop them down like that. Now with these top little squares, I have also actually cut just a little extra squares which are 3 centimetre squares, and I've gone around them with using the vintage photo and the distress inker. And I'm just going to use the zig two-way glue. Because they're only small pieces, the zig two-way glue is just right. It works out really well. I'm just going to stick them down on those panels, just like that. The big panels I'm sticking down with double-sided tape, but just the little ones, just with the glue. Little pieces of double-sided tape get a bit fiddly. And on top of those, I'm going to put just little flowers that have also come off this border paper, and I've just punched them out just to give a different shape. And there's 2 different flowers on this little border, so I'm using both different little flowers. Just like that. And one at the bottom, or 2 at the bottom, so we want them all symmetrical. That gives us the 3rd side decorated, and you'll see why I've done it that way in just a moment. I'll go back to the 1st side and you'll understand why. So that's our 3rd side decorated. When we go back to the 2nd side, flip it again. You'll see that the little butterfly panels look like little panels, and then we're going to decorate these extra little panels here. And I'm going to decorate those extra little panels with 4 more of these. This time I'm going to put a stamp on it instead. So I'll just stick them down, and I'll do the stamping when I'm at the end. Work on all 4 of these little square corners, and these 2 panels are going to be stamped. So I've gone to the 3rd pack, and then I'm going to flip over, and on this is the back. And when you're decorating, you need to keep on turning the card the right direction, and I'll let you know why in just a minute. So I'm just going to pop these down as well on the edges, and then we'll stamp. And again, just making sure you line them all up evenly, so that you've got your border all facing the same direction. I've also just inked around all these little panels with a bit of the vintage photo, just to give them a little bit of, takes off those little white cut edges and just gives the papers a little bit of definition. Oops. I want to line this one up that way. And the last one. And then we're into stamping. It's great being able to have stamps that coordinate with the papers, because that means you can use both and get everything looking good, all coordinates together. Right, so that's the back of that card, and when we flip it over again, we're back to the front. So with our stamping, let's put that aside. I've actually need to cut these in half, but I want to stamp them first before I cut them in half so that the pattern lines up exactly. So my first stamp I'm going to use is from the Birdsong collection, and it's a peacock, this one here. I'm just going to pop him onto my block, and I'm going to ink him up with my archival ink, and I'm using the archival ink because if I want to colour him in, it won't bleed. So I'm just going to line him up, put him straight down, even pressure on him, lift him up, and we've got a lovely peacock sitting there. And while I'm stamping, I'll stamp the other ones as well. There's only there's two others. I'm going to use the blossom stamp. And on the blossom stamp, I'm going to actually stamp him near the bottom, because if I stamp it in the middle, there's a lot of white space around it and the stem sort of looks like it's floating. So in this instance, I'm going to stamp it. So I've stamped up my blossom, and to fill in a bit of the white space, I'm just going to use a little butterfly at the top. And there we've got our blossom with a butterfly, and it just fills up a bit of the white space. And I'll just pop that aside as well. And on the last one, I'm going to use the dragon. And he also wants to go up that way. But in this instance, I'm quite happy to have some white space, because I'm going to pop him at the bottom, which means at the top, you've got somewhere to write your greeting on your card. Just put him up like that. And we've got our dragon. Put the lid on the ink so I don't put my hand in it. Nothing worse than having an inky hand and putting it on something you've just done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut these all at 6.5 centimetres. So I'm going to cut them all in half, which also means our dragon gets his tail cut in half, but that's okay. That's what we want to happen. I'll cut that one in half as well. And the blossom. And I'm just going to also go around each of the edges just quickly with the distress marker, the distress ink. And this one I'm using today is Vintage Photo. Just as simple as that. When you're putting cream on cream, I think it just needs a little bit of an edge. So I'll do them all at the same time. And then we're ready to stick them on the card. And our card's all ready. Just like that. And then just get my double-sided tape. I'm just going to put enough on the end. Put a bit of double-sided tape on all four sides. Hold it down nicely. Right, so I'll put the double-sided tape on the back of all of them. I'm just going to peel it off, and I'm going to pop these stamped images onto the blank squares. So these stamped squares are going to end up being 6.5 by 6.5. Same as the pattern paper. So this is the very front of our card. And our peacock. Should match up. So we've got a peacock on the front. Now we're going to flip it over, and we're going to put the blossom on the next one down, on the second flip. Centering it. so that we can see, make sure it's centered and that the picture lines up like that. And that's our third flip, which is already decorated with the paper, and the last flip is the dragon. On the bottom one first. Doesn't really matter as long as it's lined up. And then just a little bit of his tail in the blank, and the blank part is where you get to write your greeting. You could leave one of the other panels with a blank part instead if you'd like to do that. Just like that. And then when you go back to the beginning, we're right at the front. And I just need a quick little stamp to stamp that, and I'm just going to use this little round one. And I'm just going to, the good thing about clear blocks is that you can see where you're stamping. Just like that. And that's our never-ending card finished. So we start at the beginning and we flip and we flip and we flip and we flip. So when you're decorating, you need to keep flipping in the same direction, because you'll notice when you turn it over this way, your dragon is now upside down. So you do need to decorate in the same direction, because if you don't, then your dragon will be upside down when you flip for the fourth time, and it will be wrong on the inside. So we're not worried about the back part of him. We just want to start at the beginning each time and keep on going around, and it will always be up the right direction. Okay. So all the products we've used today are available at Alice in Paperland, and we've used the Graphic 45 Birdsong collection.